No, I'm here with my friend Janice, and I am Simone, and today we're taking numbers out of the hat, and we're going to talk about summertime. Summertime, it's starting, well, it's not starting to get warm outside. It's kind of rainy today, but summertime is here, and we have some fun things to talk about. So
let's get started.
Pick something out of the hat.
Okay. The boardwalk.
A boardwalk.
On the boardwalk. I love the boardwalk. It's interesting. We were talking about the boardwalk last night because we used to go all the time with my kids and then my grandkids and then my great-grandkids. And even my husband and I would go and sit on the boardwalk and watch the people. Well, we haven't gone. But it's one of the funniest places to see people because they're silly and goofy and you see life as it really is from this high to that high.
Yeah.
Now, you've lived in a lot of different places. Have you been in different boardwalks in different parts of the country?
Not very many. Never went to a boardwalk when I was growing up in England. We didn't, as far as I know, there were no boardwalks. There may be now. I don't know. The first time I went was when long time ago.
As we get older,
yes.
Time gets further away.
Right. But the only boardwalks I really know much about are the ones that are here. When I moved to this area, it was mostly because it was near the ocean. Oh. And I've been to a few of the boardwalks here, and I love the boardwalk. It's just a fun place to be.
Yes,
you know,
an
amusement park is one thing, but a boardwalk is different. And right here in Seaside Heights, it's lovely, and there are more. I even went. There's which ones? One of them has an aquarium, which was magnificent. And you never know what you're going to find at a boardwalk.
No, you never know. Actually, I can shoot rifles on the boardwalk. I used to be part of a gun club, and when my husband decided that he didn't want the gun in the house anymore because I might shoot him or something like that. But I enjoy shooting, and I think target shooting is a lot of fun. I worked for an attorney who was the president of the National Rifle Association. This is a long time ago. You know, every time I say something, it's long ago, long ago.
Exactly.
The time gets further and further back. But I used to love to go to the boardwalk and shoot the rifles and see how many I could get. And also, there's a game on the boardwalk where you shoot the gun in the water and who gets it to the top first.
Right.
Yes, I used to enjoy that too.
Yes, no, I've played that one. That's fun.
I'm a little kooky.
Yeah, but the food at the boardwalk is always good.
Yes, it's always good.
Yeah.
You can never know. You can get fried green pickles and all kinds of good
Yes, it's like going to the fair. And I've been to a lot of fairs for work.
Yes, you have.
And they have, whatever they can fry, they will. I've had fried butter.
How can you fry butter?
Well, they freeze it first. And then, dip it in the coating. And,
interesting.
And while it's still frozen, they deep fry it. But they deep fry Twinkies and banana and all kinds of stuff. It's something different every year.
It's a little sickening. All right, let's pick it. You pick one now.
Let's shake them up. Okay.
Shake them up, baby.
Shake them up.
Shake them up.
Swimsuits.
I'll let you talk about that one.
No. When was the last time you were in a swimsuit?
Well, not that very long time ago. I was even thinking if we have to go to the pool, I don't even have a swimsuit.
2 years ago, I got a swimsuit out of the closet. I took it with me because I was going to a party, a pool party. And when I put it on, I found that the elastic had gone around the legs. So I went out and I sat on the edge of the pool with my feet in the water the whole time I was there was no way I was going to get into the water, and I was afraid to stand up because my behind was falling out of the swimsuit. It was.
Oh, come on, you got nothing there compared to me. Come on,
this is not a comparison, okay? This was my experience, and I said to myself then, I've got to change the elastic in this. Of course, everybody says, no, you got a new swimsuit, but. I don't like trying on swimsuits. Going to a department store and trying on swimsuits it's not a comfortable experience.
No, it sure isn't, especially when you look in the mirror.
That
40 years later.
That doesn't help. You have to look in the mirror. I mean, first you have to get the thing on.
Yes.
And that's not easy, you know? I mean, you have to stretch and pull and twist and whatever to get into these things.
She's so cute. You know, she no matter what she would say, it comes out sweet and lovely and gentle. I know the F word doesn't even come out of her mouth, because if it does, it would be dripping with chocolate syrup.
No, I save that for special occasions.
Oh, okay.
It really, because people know me and they know I don't use words like that.
No.
If it comes out, they know they're really in trouble.
Right.
But no, I remember my granddaughter came to visit me in California, and there was a pool, and we were going to go to the pool. So I got her all dressed up in her cute little swimsuit, and then I went to get mine, and I pulled it off the hook in the bathroom, and she said to me, "Are you going to get all that into that little thing?" I said, "Yes, it stretches." I never forgot it.
See, out of the mouths of babes.
Out of the mouths of babes, yes.
Life certainly changed.
You know, there was another thing she said that has nothing to do with swimsuits. But we were in a restaurant, and for the first time, because I was in California, they were in New Jersey, and I had flown over with my friend Bradley. And we're sitting, my daughter and Katrina are sitting here, and Bradley and I are on the other side, and she leans over to me and she said, "What's he for?"
What's he for?
I'd never come with anybody before, and all of a sudden now I have a guy with me. She said, "What's he for?" I said, I think very quickly. I said, "He's to keep me happy when I don't have you around."
Aww.
And it was just, I'm so glad that came out, because it was just the perfect thing to say to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she said, what did she say? She just accepted?
No, she accepted that. That was fine. That worked.
See what I'm saying? She's so prim and proper. She says the right things at the right time. By the time I figure out what I have to say, I've already said the F word 14 times. But that's what makes us all different.
Yes.
And happy.
Yes. Your turn.
Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Make it something good. Boats. I know a lot about boats. We used to have a sailboat. And for someone that doesn't even swim, my kids used to say, "Why are you going in the boat? You don't even know how to swim." I said, "Well, if you're out in the ocean, you can't swim anyway, so you might as well just take a chance." But we spent many years on a 36, maybe 32-foot sailboat, and it was beautiful. Of course, I did nothing.
That's a lovely size.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And relaxing, and I didn't know how to do anything except keep my mouth shut, because I would aggravate my husband, of course, because I'd ask a question when he was trying to sail or something, And so it was much easier if I just didn't do anything. I just let him do all the work. And so one time we took a nap in the afternoon, and I guess I turned and I felt water. And I said, "Hon, get up. And something had broken or something, and water was filling the whole boat up.
Oh, wow.
Of course, he knew what to do. I mean, I would have been dead by now. I'd have been under the boat. And there was some hole. I don't know what it was really, but he plugged it up, and we got out of there, and we left. But it was we met wonderful people on boats, like camping when you're, because we did that also. everybody is so willing to make friends, and everybody is so happy to be with you and share with you, because you have nothing to do. You don't really, well, we did have TV out there, but we probably didn't use it. But we belonged to the Harlem River Yacht Club on City Island. And we always had such wonderful parties. We'd always take one power boat with us. So there'd be 5 or 6 sailboats and a power boat in case we broke down.
Just in case, right?
We broke down. But we met lifelong friends out there boating, and it was a good experience. And the kids, my grandson, let me think now, he's 40. This is going back how many years? See, the older you get, the years are so far away, you can't even believe you lived this long. But he was remembering when we went out on the boat, and one of the girls took her power boat and went to the shore and got a roasted pig. So we had a pig roast.
They got a pig already roasted?
Yeah, she went to the shore to get it from a Spanish place somewhere. I don't know where. I mean, I don't know. Somewhere on City Island we got it. But it was fun times, and toga parties, and just a lot of together people and having a lot of good fun. I don't think people do that anymore. I don't see people.
I don't know. I'm not in that group, you know. That.
No, but I don't think they congregate that much anymore. I mean, people are just not nice. Well, maybe they are.
Maybe they are.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah. Maybe we need to get a boat.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of work too. But
no, I love boats. I love.
But we did. We made a lot of very good friends, and had a lot of good times. And of course, when you have a group together like that, that's even better.
Yes.
You know, it's even nicer to go in a group with a bunch of people. You drive up to the restaurant, you have a table for 6 or 8, you know, and it's a lot of fun. And so we spent many summers at City Island, and we loved it. Yes, we loved it. Today we're lucky we could walk on the, to get off the car to go to City Island. My husband, who's probably going to kill me for saying this, but next month we'll be 97 years old. God bless him.
Yeah.
And he's still got it. I mean, I always tell him, you got the cutest ass there is.
Oh.
But his mind is good, better than mine. So.
Wow.
Hi, Richie. All right, who's next? You go. You go, lady.
Okay.
You go. You go, Smo.
All right. Vacation.
Oh.
When was the last time you went on a vacation?
Well, actually, it wasn't that long ago. I went to not New Orleans, North Carolina, to visit my daughter, and that's always a vacation because she is very crafty, and we go crafting, and my granddaughter also. And so we go to the craft stores and buy things and make them. Or crochet them, or knit them, or ceramic them, or whatever, paint them, whatever. And this last time we went, we had this wonderful experience, which is going to sound stupid, but we ate in a cafeteria. I haven't seen a cafeteria anywhere since I went to high school, I think.
Oh, wow. You mean places like Bickford? There was Bickford's, do you remember them?
Yes.
What was that, 30 years ago or something? I don't know how long they've been gone. But those diners and those little cafes, they're gone.
They were really good.
Yeah.
As where's your last vacation? England, I guess. You went to the wedding?
Yes, I went to England for a wedding, which was lovely, and I get to see all my family when I go to England. I really don't go to an awful lot of other places these days. When I go to England to see my family.
Well, sure.
I used to go on vacations. I've been on a couple of cruises, and I've been Cancun was probably the furthest away that I've gone for a vacation. Which was absolutely gorgeous. But my dream vacation, I would love to just take a leisurely drive up through Vermont to Canada, stay a weekend in Montreal, practice my French, take a train across to the other side and then jump on a cruise to Alaska. I mean, I would love to go places, but
advertise.
you know,
if anybody will take you up on it in the village, you'll split the cost with them.
yeah. No, that's just you know, that's my dream vacation. If I win the lottery, or if I buy a ticket.
Well, I always tell the kids, do it now. Do it now when you're young.
Yes.
Because by the time you can afford it, you're not going to be able to go.
My grandchildren are going. They have been to so many places in Europe this year. In the last 3 or 4 months, between the two of them, they have been to England, Spain, France. There's a little country in between the two of those where they went skiing. They have been traveling like crazy. And, you know, that's the time to do it.
My grandson now is in Nepal. He went to Italy. He just decided he was going away, and he's getting away. So he got away. Now he's in Nepal, and he's got a camp for children for 2 weeks that he's founded there. And he said, Grandma, how many grandchildren can you handle?
Oh.
I said, bring them home, bring them home. It's so sad when you hear about how people are living in other countries. It's, you know, you live here and sometimes, well, I don't have enough money for this or that.
Right.
You have money for everything compared to how people are living in Nepal.
In other places,
you know? And I said, I think you should come home, because every time he calls me, I start to cry.
Oh.
It's so sad, you know? And then I remembered we were on a cruise once, and we got off somewhere and we went in the mountains. And this little boy came over to me, and I said to my husband, I want to take him home with me. And he said, take me, take me.
Oh.
So I don't know if they were really meaning that. I mean, I was going to take him. You can't, of course. But I don't know, maybe they're looking for money. You don't know when you go on these vacations what everybody's doing. But what is the best vacation you ever had?
I would say the one to Cancun was the best. The worst thing about it was, well, I shouldn't say that. It was the part that impressed me the most was when we decided that we wanted to get away from the tourist area and go and explore the real thing. And so there was one day, there was a festival of some saint, and they were a whole load of people just walking down the street, all carrying, it was like a statue on a stick. And they were going somewhere, and we said, let's follow them and see where they're going. And we did that, and we got to this open area where they were dancing, the Mexicans, you know, with their skirts out and everything, and the music was fabulous. It was like, you know, gee, the tourists would have loved this, right?
Right.
So we stayed and we watched this, and we were getting hungry, and we looked around, and Bradley would say, you always look for the place where there's a long line, because that's where the food is best. So we found this little taco stand where there was a waiting list, and we got tacos, and we went inside to sit and eat them, which was it was a big hall, and there were very few people eating. Most people had picked them up and left. And so we sat and we had our tacos, and afterwards I needed the restroom. So I went up to the guys who were in the front, and I said, Los Baños? And they looked at each other in horror. And I repeated it, thinking maybe I hadn't said it right. I'm trying to, you know, get the accent right. And they pointed to the corner. And I went into the corner and into this very little bathroom. And there was no seat on the toilet, and there was a very, very small sink, about, I don't know, 12 by 9 or something, next to it. And this was the bathroom, and they were right on top of each other. And there was a bucket underneath the sink. There was no other plumbing. And the thing was that after you had done what you needed to do, you then ran water into the bucket and you flushed it yourself. And that kind of woke me up. You know, it was that was realization. Here's this place that is making so much money on the tacos, but how much money do they really make? There's 4 guys working there. And, you know, they don't have time to fix the toilet.
Or go to the bathroom.
Well, for them, I mean, all they've got to do is just stand there. But for me, it was a little trickier. But but then we went back to our hotel, which was built, it was marble. The whole place was marble and mirrors and such expense. And it kind of, you know, it was such a difference.
It puts things in perspective.
It did. It really put things in perspective.
Well, our vacationing used to be in St. Martin. And St. Martin has 2 sides, and the one side is nudist colonies. So we used to go to the nudist. Yes, I used to have a body that I could show in public, and we used to have a lot of fun there. And there used to be a guy walking around with a parrot on his shoulder, in the nude, on the nude beach. But I remember that my husband would stand at the.
Yes.
Everybody thinks my husband is so sweet and innocent, and he's not. He's really a pig. But he would stand there and take pictures of the camera people taking pictures of the nudists. But we had some fun times there, and wonderful food, and just you can enjoy vacation. Now, as you get older, you can't eat this, or you're too full to eat that.
Well, yes.
You know, so it's not like it used to be when you were young.
Well, no, but that's the same anywhere. I mean, when I went to England this time, my family, they're not going to give you a menu at the dinner table. What they're fixing is what you're going to eat.
Exactly.
And it may not be what you're supposed to be eating.
Oh.
So, you make the best you can.
Yeah, I eat the Lay's potato chips and Diet Pepsi. And that sort of satisfies my hunger.
Oh.
But there's a lot of things that change, as you don't realize as you get older. And now how can you take a cruise? How can you walk? I don't want to go in a wheelchair. My husband has a walker. And so you just stay home. And then you get, you just sort of sit there and think about all the places you used to go to.
Right.
And that's good too.
Okay.
That's a good sign.
Okay.
Okay, she's pointing for me to do something.
Next.
Oh, the beach, but we discussed the beach.
Well, we talked about the boardwalk.
But well, the beach is something I never liked because I could never walk in the sand.
Sand is the reason I don't go to the beach.
Oh.
I'm done with sand.
See?
Yes.
Tell us
sand gets everywhere, and it's very uncomfortable.
Yes, it is.
When the kids were little, that's different. You go and you sit there and you watch them play and they build sandcastles and stuff. But at this point in my life, first of all, I don't want sunburn.
Right.
Doesn't matter how much stuff I put on me, I'm still going to worry about the sun. I have to wear a hat, I have to cover up, have to do this, have to do that.
By the time you do all that, why go to the beach?
And you have to cart it all to the beach, and what's the point?
You're right.
Yeah, so
See how age changed us?
Changes everybody.
Yeah, we used to cart all that stuff and pull it down the beach
we used to cart it all in there, and yes, we did.
Sometimes the cat's, in the box and gets the litter on the ground, and I walk in there and I say, oh, it's like the beach in here.
Yes,
it's like the beach in here.
Yeah.
All right, let's see where we're going next on our train trip.
You got 2 there. There we go. What have we got? 4th of July.
Oh, that's a good thing. Let's blow up something.
Well, the 4th of July, I never had the 4th of July celebration.
Right, that's right.
Until I came to America. But I don't know, it was kind of ambiguous because being from England and I didn't really want to celebrate the 4th of July.
Right, the birth
and it
of
was
America.
It's kind of a contrary concept.
Right.
But the fun thing about the 4th of July is. That at one point I was getting divorced, which doesn't sound like a fun thing, but then it wasn't.
It could be fun.
But
someone that's had 4 husbands.
I was going to a therapist at the time, and he asked me what I was going to do for the holiday, and I hadn't made any plans. He said, well, remember, this is Independence Day.
Oh.
And since my husband had stopped going for these sessions, okay, it had turned into divorce counseling rather than marriage counseling. And he says, this is your Independence Day, so do something just for yourself, all by yourself. And I did. I got in the car and I went for a long drive up north somewhere and found a hotel and stayed in this very cute little hotel for the night and came back and said, okay, I am independent. I mean, the divorce wasn't final, but he was sleeping elsewhere.
It was
so it was, yes, it was my Independence Day.
Sometimes you have to do things like that, silly things that people, you don't think, no, that's ridiculous. But sometimes you have to play the act, act it all out until you get to the place that you're supposed to be.
I was so used to, doing stuff with him that to go and do something all by myself was... Yeah, it was very different.
Well, I was never that dependent on anyone, and my husband was always more dependent on me, like to make the plans, and we would go every place together. And I used to say, can we just do something alone sometimes? Sometimes I like to just get in the car and drive out Route 80 and just listen to the music with the windows open. But once we were married, and it's going to be 40 years this September, I didn't have no more freedom, and I finally had to tell him that I really need some space sometimes.
Yeah, well, this is what was going on with Ken and I. He was a very controlling person.
Oh.
And yes.
No, I wouldn't say my husband was controlling. He just likes to be with me, and if he could be with me all the time.
Oh, that's not controlling.
No, it's very sweet and it's very loving, but sometimes I need my space. Even if it's just for an hour, I'll drive to Boscov and buy something, and then I feel better. Yeah. So, all right, let's go here. What we hear? We're almost to the bottom of the barrel. Oh,
well, favorite summer memory. When you look back, do you have a favorite summer? Did you do anything special?
I fell in love at 15.
Wow, that's good.
With my high school sweetheart. He became my high school sweetheart. And I always had fun. We had a place near Cleveland. I grew up in Cleveland, as I'm sure everybody knows by now. And there was an amusement park called Cedar Point. And so we used to go there for, it had rides and all these things. And I used to like to go there, and I don't know, the memories that I've had from there and being 15. I'd like to be 15 again, I think,
No, not me.
But those memories, and then I think also learning how to drive. I learned how to drive when I was 14, but I couldn't tell anybody until I was 16.
Okay.
And so I used to sneak my friend Merle's car, and he would let me drive. So that was a memory.
Right.
But I have a lot of good memories. I have a lot of not so good memories, but I try to keep them at bay and just listen to the good ones.
Yeah, I think my favorite is when I was still in England, so that's a long time ago. But I had a gig. I was in a show that ran in a small resort all summer.
Oh.
And I would dance and act and sing and do all kinds of things. And because it was such a small place, we were the only thing in town. So we had 4 different shows that we put on, totally different shows. And we would alternate them through the week, so that if somebody only came to to stay in this resort for 1 week, they could actually come in and see 3 different shows. So we do 2 days with this one, and then 2 days with that, 2
Very
days for
true.
another, and then we
Right.
were off on Mondays, I think it was. But then we'd do matinees and evenings. It was a lot. It was a lot. But I had the best time. I really did. Being in that environment
Yep.
and getting paid for it. This was my one and only union job. One that I actually got a contract for and stuff.
And getting paid. That helps.
Yes, and
That
getting
helps.
paid. It was amazing. And I opened up. I didn't realize that I could do a lot of the things that I did.
Right.
And so I think that's what made it so special.
Well, because you come into yourself then.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was still young and I was growing up, and I needed that.
Yes, you needed that little shove, and then I couldn't hold you back. But before we, I know we have one more thing here, but I wanted to make sure we get out to the public here about your show. As all of you must know, please tell them about your flowers and what you make, your hobby is. Because they're going to have a show tomorrow.
But
yes.
it'll be long gone by the time this gets on the air.
Okay, but just tell them about it.
No, I press flowers from my garden, and I have an Etsy shop which is doing very well. Simone's Garden, if you want to look it up.
That's very
and I have a table at TRAC, which is the Toms River artist community down at 40 Main Street in Toms River. And
I didn't tell you to tell them all the things that go on. No, I'm just kidding.
But I press flowers, and most of the stuff that I sell online, my biggest item is edible flowers, which is why it's so miserable when the animals come and eat them. But I make these little packets and I send them out. But in the meantime, I also do calligraphy and I make beautiful things. And I recently pressed a bouquet for somebody, and she was absolutely delighted. So it's something I do. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do it because the old hands are getting tired.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yes, and it's time I retired anyway, but I'm still going.
Keep going, kid. We don't retire. I say that I'm not going to do anything anymore, and here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are.
One last thing.
One last thing is outdoor dining.
Outdoor dining.
Do you like to eat outdoors?
Not really.
I hate it. Everybody wants to cook on the grill. It's disgusting. The grill's disgusting.
But
I like to sit down in a restaurant and sit down and they serve me. The kids, one of my grandsons and his wife and Richard and I went down. We were at the shore Sunday. And we went to this place called something, Gigi's,
okay.
And it was just a delightful little place, and there had a little lamp at the table that you could push the button and the top lit up. It was really a cute little place. And the prices were just sky high, a dish of pasta, $40.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, oh, the hell with it. Eat, guys. Just forget about it. And I said, hon, get out the credit card and do it. And we did. We had such a nice time at this, because we don't ever do this anymore.
Right,
we never go to these places. So it was a treat, and the kids were loving it. And so then that night, I guess they were guilty, because my granddaughter really called up and she said, listen, we want to take you out for your birthday, and we're going to take you to Cabaret. I said, oh, that's silly. You don't have to do that. And she said, oh, yes, we already bought the tickets.
Oh.
So I got very excited, and I said to my husband, we'll pay for dinner or something, But the thought that they would even want to do that.
Yeah, that's lovely.
People say to me, you're so lucky. I am very lucky, because I have a lot of grandchildren, and these 3, who are my daughter's 3 boys, always are there for us, no matter what we want. And that's it, guys. Everything else, what else do you want to talk about? They got the blinds closed in here. We don't know if there's a tornado or or a storm or anything going out. So we'll end the show very soon, and then we'll go out for lunch, and then we'll talk about what we should have talked about on the show. So are you ready to say goodbye, guys?
Okay, apparently. Okay, we're done for today. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure for us, and I hope it's a pleasure for you. Have a wonderful day.
Ciao.